Bye-bye, Dallas Bluff. We are underway. Thankfully, I've got the breadcrumbs to show me the way out.
Gotta take a look at it real quick.
It's always a good idea to let your motors run for a while to make sure nothing's going to happen before you leave the dock, especially if you're single-handing. Mike's checking on his starboard motor, make sure it's up to snuff. It's making smoke like mine used to. Hopefully we don't have to do to his boat what we did to mine. Oh yeah, depth finder's working. Small victories, man.
It looks all well. It just seems like it came up in temperature real fast, but I don't know.
Neither Mike nor myself are professional mechanics, but we always did what we had to do to get the job done on our limited budgets. We definitely had a lot of help along the way. Just like navigation, Del Turner, the owner of the marina, had given us confidence to get in and out of this area. That was a muddy bank when we came in. Now the water runs right up to the grass. If it weren't for all the flies that live in there, I think that was pretty. As is. It looks a little ominous. Funny how the ICW can change. This is Sapelo Sound. Look how big. It's enormous. But then other parts of the ICW are real narrow and tight. Tomorrow we go through Hell's Gate, and that'll be an example of tight. Time to head north again, going east now, and we're going to turn around that marker, follow the dotted line, then we just sit back and relax and hope nothing breaks. How we doing there, Bay? You catching some flies? Yeah. That's good. Oh, dolphin. Here we got a marker that looks like it's more to the left of this canal, but look at that. So much room over there. A little room over here. But you can see the difference in the water. There's definitely water moving on this side, not so much on that side. I wouldn't go over there. I'd probably run aground on that side. Yeah. A lot of current going past 126. Hopefully before long we'll have the current at our back. O'clock and we're almost there. Right around this bend here is where we plan to spend the night. Right up in here. Buckhead's Creek. This is listed as an Anchorage on Navionics, I believe, but I learned about this from What Yacht to Do, which is a cruising channel that has documented their Great Loop journey. They're now on their second Great Loop journey, actually, and they stayed here for a night. And I figured it was a good spot. It's about a halfway mark between where we were over at Dallas Bluff and Savannah. So I figured, what the heck? And we're here so early. We're kind of tempted to move on, but I don't think there's too many places between here and where we want to stop next. So this looks like it's going to be our home for the night. Amongst the marsh grass. I have a feeling I'm going to have to close my doors. Stupid bugs. boat. Just came from the intercoastal up that way. But we're not going to go that way, we're going to go this way. And we're going to stop right there. It looks like a beach over there. Something tells me it's shelly. Like that, looks rocky. I'll have to scout around and see if I can find a place for the dogs to go ashore. Although over there looks, oh, there's some promising looking beaches over there. I don't know. Good thing is we're here early, so we'll have plenty of time to check it out. In worst case scenario, they have a grassy patch right there. Yeah, you hear me down there? They're down in the cabin. They were sleepyheads today. You can take this all the way back, actually. Look at that mess. But yeah, this goes all the way back to here. There's supposed to be Anchorages there, but then we'd have to come all the way back to continue on the ICW. So we're just gonna stop right there. Picking an Anchorage can be challenging, but today was actually kind of fun, what with the short travel day and the easy conditions. It was especially nice because I had a depth finder that was reliable. Anywhere in here I suppose is good, but I'm in 18 feet of water. I'm going to see if I can find something just a little bit shallower.
Yeah, because it's going to swing up.
That is the truth. See, 27 it shows there. But in actuality, what have we got? 16 feet. 15, 8. Going down. Good. Over here it shows 17. And that should be even less there, one would think. I'm gonna bump it down, cruise around, showing fish. 14.8, very nice. Yeah, this is very close to where we're gonna stay, I think.
I'm in like 13 here.
Whew. That's pretty sweet. If you don't take that spot, I might.
Oh, I'm already reversing. You can come up and wrapped up, I guess, for a while. Probably stay, it wouldn't probably matter.
I gotta try my new anchor.
Yep, I was thinking that. What are you at now?
22 feet.
Yeah, when you get near land, it'll drop pretty quick.
So today I had a choice to make, and I decided to anchor my boat closer to land where the wind was coming from. And the reason was, if I were to break anchor, I had all this space before I ran aground, even though the anchor had more of a tendency to break free as it went downhill than over here where it was going uphill. But if I anchored over here, my boat would have been real close to land and I would have had no warning before the boat went aground after the anchor drug. So since I was doing a test today, I anchored on this side of the basin. Just coast up there. 12.7, 12.5, nice. Nice. Got a little too much forward momentum, so I'm going to stop that. By just doing the port motor, I'll pivot to the left a little bit. Oh my god, that's squeaky. 12 foot, very nice. Alright, pretty much where I want to be, I think. Still moving forward according to that reference. So a little bit of reverse. Okay, right where I want to be. Okay, I'm gonna do this from up front so that you guys can see this dinghy advancing on me because I braked. There's my new anchor, Danforth. Danforth is supposed to be good for sandy and muddy bottoms. We visited a place in Savannah, I think it was, and I asked, it was like a marine place, and I asked if they had any anchors for sale, and all they had were Danforth. Danforth seemed to be the standard that most day trippers use, You usually only see more expensive high-end anchors in the cruising community where people are on board their boats and asleep, relying on their anchors to keep them in place. There it is. And that designates 25 feet of the second length. Look at it going straight down. There's like no current, no wind. As a result, I'm told that unless it's really blowing hard and the current's whipping, you should set these anchors by putting it in reverse. And it should be able to hold with that much chain out. You see, yeah, the tide's going in. So I'm gonna swing just like Good Times is. So my stern is going to turn around. You can already see it. And once I'm in the position that I should be staying in, I can put it in reverse a little bit and we'll tug on that. And if I don't break free, hopefully all is good. And then in here, I've got my new snubber. There's two of these. They go. Unfortunately, along my personal journey here, a lot of the things that I learned, including about snubbers and anchors, I learned through trial and error instead of having an actual teacher. And I'll make another video in the future about how this snubber is supposed to work, so that for now I won't bore you with the details. This is hardly a test really, because there's barely any wind and barely any current right now. That makes for good sleeping though. And I'm standing over here and I don't really see any bugs. It's good. This might wind up being a nice anchorage. Ooh, the deck is hot. The grass is hot too. Oh. Go back here. Oh, nice and cool back here. Probably cool in the cabin too. Oh, look at the bugs. Alright. We got a way to get rid of them. Hi, pups. Where are we now? Who knows? Blessed silence. Showing 11.2. Beautiful. That's such a good depth. Anchor distance shows us not moving. Stuck at 7.6 meters. It'll build to like that amount even if you're at a dock. So as long as those numbers aren't creeping up, I'm good. And here we got a little squiggly going on. So I should be able to tell if anything is awry. Fingers are crossed for my new anchor. Now we're gonna do a couple things, like kill some bugs, drink some beer. Okay, look at this, the fridge is still on without a generator. It's magic. Enjoying a can of Stress Be Gone seemed the perfect thing to do while I waited to see if the anchor was going to drag. What do you think about tonight's home? Pretty good, I think, right? Then it was time to explore and see if there was any places around here to take the dogs for a walk. Despite the fact that having dogs on board while cruising makes things more difficult, I really did enjoy the excuse to explore crazy new places so that they could have a place to run around. I think I can speak for the dogs too, and say that the inherent risks were worth the fun of seeing new places. Right. Some shells up there, less shells over there. It's hard enough. Puppy dog feet. Usually I wouldn't ever ask the dogs to walk someplace that I wouldn't go barefoot, but their feet are definitely tougher than mine, and the entire time I was cruising, I never had any trouble with them getting cuts on the pads of their feet. Hey, I really had to go. If we never came to places like this, I wouldn't get to see things like fiddler crab mansions. Well, that's some kooky looking stuff, huh? To quote Bilbo, it's a dangerous business going out of your door. You step onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to. In other words, no risk, no reward. I do love exploring and going to places like this. Especially when it's in the middle of nowhere. I did try my best not to disturb any of the inhabitants of the places that I visited, whether it be crabs. So, all ghostly trees. Very cool, huh? I know it's a dead tree, but tons of character. Hey, easy. Oh, like that one bit. Although digging into the deeper parts of this island wasn't really necessary in order to take the dogs for a walk, and although you might attribute it to some ignorance, I truly did find the exploring part of it intoxicating. Whenever I visit places like this, it reminds me of the innocence of childhood, what it was like to once be carefree. I think it's good to have reminders of that every once in a while. I found the beauty of this place far exceeding that of a well-manicured lawn that's nice and green, probably with the help of chemicals. The natural beauty of this place surpassed that partly because of the variety of what you see out here. These places are also home to a variety of critters, some of which I might be inclined to chase away. The bark on this tree, for instance, is something that I wasn't used to seeing. Its grandeur far surpassed anything I've ever grown in my garden. One place that my eyes wandered, aside from looking for snakes, was off to the horizon in the beautiful vista right on the outskirts of this island. It made me wish that we didn't have to travel on, and that we could spend some time here and make a decent campsite out of this. My initial impression was that this was a safe place for the dogs and myself, and perhaps the fears of this unknown place were unfounded. I haven't seen a single paw print from a raccoon or any place dug up by pigs, or I'm a little leery of snakes. Stay close, pups. Super cool campsite though, I bet. If you have a thermocell. You hear how quiet it is? So awesome. What you got there, pup? Uh-oh. Is it a scat from something? Little round pellets? Scat from something else too. Nice, babe. How about that view, huh? Way off in the distance I can see the boats. Neat. Birds, some sort of structure on land way beyond. Something in the water close up, probably a crab pot. And that's it. And us. And you? Let's go, Jeff. Well, I felt that I had pushed my luck far enough, and it was time to go. I had my own little campsite, floating out there in the water. There was dinner for the dogs and myself waiting there, and the night at this anchorage turned out to be as enchanting as the island nearby where I got to take the dogs for a walk. Once back to the boat, I went upstairs to check on the breadcrumbs on the little Navionics chart plotter here. If all was well, I would get a little circle drawn by the breadcrumbs. And that's exactly what I saw. You could see the wind was coming from land, pushed me away as the tide changed. First one way, then the other. And you can see when the wind wasn't pushing too much, that Kon-Tiki would stay towards the center of that circle. It seemed the new Danforth anchor was doing its job very nicely. And with those comforting thoughts in my head, the day started to come to an end, and I got to see another extraordinary sight. I get to see the sight a lot, actually, living on the water. For about 6 years now I had been living on a boat, but I never got tired of watching the sun slip over the horizon. I agree with a lot of people when they say that there is no closer feeling to being with God than being out here and getting to see stuff like this. No offense to all the churches out there. See you next time, folks. We'll be back on the way before you know it.